Alright, so today I wanted to take a look at some of our routing options with the Boss SY-200 synthesizer and the TC Electronics Plethora X5. So I've already kind of got in my head the idea of how this is supposed to work, but I actually want to show some of the advantages, disadvantages to some of the routing options, because both of these have effects loops. So that means I could start at one and then run direct into the other one, or use the loops with each other. So right now I've got kind of what you would picture as being the most basic pedal setup, as being guitar running to the synthesizer first, and then I'm skipping the effects loop and just coming out the output and then to the input of the X5, and then from the output going to my preamp that leads to the interface that I'm using. So that would be my clean tone that I've got right now. The synthesizer is not on. I don't have any cool effects loaded into the plethora just yet. That's just my clean sound. If I hit the effects loop, it goes away because I have nothing plugged into the effects loop. So I like this game dual one. So that's one that is available with the synth right away. So let's mess around with this and see what we have. So I don't have any kind of amp simulation, but the plethora does have cab simulations. You have to go to settings and then global. I really wish it was in boards so that you could have different cabs for the different boards. But let's see. Product settings, there it is, and then cab simulation. And then you have some different options. I had the creamy 412 that I was trying out. Let's try this top one. So you can tell there's a difference in the vintage. Okay, 65. And of course we're hearing the direct sound and the synth sound together. It's the blue 2x12, creamy 1x12. This bass one, get ready for this. That's probably the biggest difference. Let's just stay on the vintage for right now. Normally, I do not use the cab sims on the plethora. There's really no control over it, especially when compared to the Helix, where you can change the microphones, the distance, high and low pass, and all these different things. It's a cool feature to have, especially with this, where I don't have any amp sims going at all. So we'll stick with that for right now. Let's maybe load an effect into this spot. Let's do the reverb there. Let's put a compressor in the first spot here. All right, and then what do we put here? Oh, let's make sure octave. That'll be fun. I'm not going to use them all right now, but keep it simple for now. So yeah, I've got the affected sound hitting this, and I think that I want the synth to be in the effects loop of this somehow, because the compressor, if you have the compressor boosting your signal going into the synth, it seems to be a lot more consistent, and less affected by the dynamic playing. So let's try to work our way towards that. Now, before I plug the guitar into the plethora, let's maybe keep this going and see how it would work in the effects loop. So I'm gonna come out of this. Sorry about that. I don't have as much volume control with this either. So I'm going to go to the input one, and then let's use the effects send to go to the return. And where'd my other patch cable go? Let's use this one. And I'm going to come from the return of that one, or the output, excuse me, to the return of this, and then I'm still coming out the output into there. So see, the pedal is on right now, and I have the dry signal. reverb. That's already kind of synthy, but that's the bass subbing up octave and compressor. See what I mean about making that more consistent versus... You might want that dynamic range, but you might want it to be a little tighter. Picking lighter, picking heavier. That's why I kind of want that to be in front of the effects loop. So now, even though the synth pedal's on, I have to engage the effects loop. So you have to consider that when it's off, because of the way that I use this with the direct send instead of the affected send, I'm still able to play. Let's see. Now my sound still sounded kind of synthy because of that octave pedal. I'm going to turn off the compressor too. But I'm running to this first, then to here, then back, and then to the ear there. But I have to turn on the effects loop to get that. And that's because of menu, let's see, page over, send and return, and then it says direct. If I switch that to effect, okay, if I turn that off, see it's still there. The compressor and the synth are still working together, but it's going to be synth before compressor, whereas if I do direct, then it's compressor before synth, which is pretty much my preference there. So this is workable, though. It's a little crazy and might even be unnecessary to do it this way, but it does work. So let's now try going straight into the Plethora first. So when I unplug the input of the synth, it's going to turn off. And let's just start over. There we go. And let's see. So guitar into this, and then let's see. We use the effects send to run to that. And then I'm just going to skip the effects loop for now. I might not even really need it. And then plug into the return of that. It's easy to forget that this isn't the synth pedal right there. That's just the 7-up. So I'm getting that sound because the effects loop is on, and that's where I'm plugged into it. And I could use it that way, but if I wanted to have that extra spot there where the effects loop is, then I just have to tell it where to insert the effects loop. So I could get rid of this, and I could really get rid of this too. Let's do that. So you have to hit the button for it, and then what should we do? Let's put a phaser right there, maybe. Well, let's do a pitch shifter, actually. And then we'll put delay right here, if it'll let me. Nope. Must have maxed out the DSP with that. So let's go back here, no pitch shifter. Let's do phaser. Now let's do delay. There we go. So now I do have to tell it where the effects loop is going to sit. So we'll go to board, effects loop insert. It's between 2 and 3 right now. I prefer that between 3 and 4. Okay, so now the effects loop is between the phaser and the delay, which means that this is always on until I turn it off, obviously. And I am playing my LTD. It's the MH1000 with the EMG pickups, which are a little bit more active, hot, compressed. So this would sound very different than my Telecaster. I'm also tuned to D standard. Sound, but it's these two units working together. So even without the synth, I've got a very I can change the direct and the affected level. In fact, that's why I've got the expression pedal right here. It's because I can kind of use that to blend it in. Let's try it a different effect. Yeah. See, this one doesn't have a direct signal, so I need to turn it on. And I can always capture that sound too. This is very usable. It would be nice to have something like the simplifier or something else mixed in with this, so I could have actual control over the cab sims and amplifier options and things. It's cool having the cab sims available in the X5, but yeah, definitely not quite the same. Your routing options, if you have the X3, obviously are going to be a little bit different because it does not have the effects loop. So you might have to consider maybe going that option where you run into the synth pedal, and then the X5 would be basically in the loop of that. You couldn't use the stereo left and right if you went that way, I don't believe. Maybe if someone knows, they could drop that in the comments there. But yeah, I've got some cool options here. As far as flexibility with the three things that I've demoed this with, I've done the synth pedal so far with the simplifier, with my HX Stomp, and now with the Plethora. And probably as far as the flexibility and the options and the control that can be done between all of them, I'd have to say that the HX Stomp is probably the best as far as just the limitless options that you can do and having everything that you would need. The Plethora and the simplifier, both great, though very hard to compare the two of them. In fact, these two units work great together, as you can see in one of the other videos that I've done. Running the simplifier and the Plethora together there. So I'm probably going to start getting to the point where I'm building my board back together, which will mean diving into more of the menus and things and being able to get these units to talk to each other through MIDI. So thank you guys very much for sticking around this long and watching the videos and everything. And I look forward to making some more here soon. Thanks.